What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PHDJ podcast. What is going on? It's Joe Bunn and my man, Mike Walter. What is up, Mike?
How are you, Joe?
I'm good, man. It's glad to be back.
Should we be recording this just in case, I don't know, what else could happen in the world that hasn't already been happening, but I guess we should just mention this. We are pre-recording this.
It's not funny, but it's just...
Yeah. Well, in a way, you have to laugh about it, right?
Or you'll be a very depressed person. Yeah, it's been a ride for a couple years. So I guess this will come out, Mike. What it would be like?
This will drop on St. Patrick's Day.
I was about to say. So to me, and I'm sorry to all the Irish people and to whoever St. Patrick was, but to me, from 2020 for the rest of my life, I will always think of that as the day the world ended, because I remember being here in Raleigh. And I remember them saying, I know everybody's raging down here at Glenwood South, which is a few blocks from my office. Like, that's the hot, going out spot. And they were like, you're not staying out till 2 o'clock. They literally shut the street down at 12. And we're like, you can party to midnight, but that's it. And from that day, you guys know the rest, it was the end of the world.
That was the day 2 years ago that the CDC said 6 weeks. Everybody stay home for 6 weeks, and we'll squash this. And
you know what came up yesterday on my feed?
That way.
Yeah, it didn't work out. Was that post? I think me and you both made that post around a couple of days ago on our feeds, and it was like, I've never wanted to touch my face so bad in my life. I remember, because that was the big thing: wash your hands and don't touch, or wash your hands, don't touch your face.
Yeah. And I flew to St. Louis that week. I did a microphone workshop with the DJ company. And I posted, when I got off the plane, I've never washed my hands so much in my life. Because
that's what it was.
I was washing my hands every 10 feet. There's another bathroom.
Right. Your hand. Yeah, you posted like, my hands are straight raw. Like,
right.
That's right. And I was like, all I want to do is touch my face.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both posted something. Yeah.
Well, and for me this year, St. Patrick's Day, I'm having a dry month. I decided when Kelly and I got back from vacation, I said, you know what, I'm going to detox for a month.
Mike was down there just drinking rum like 4 hours a day.
We not that we got effed up, but we drank every day. And I just thought 10 days of drinking, let me detox. So I have been alcohol free since coming back from vacation.
Wow. Okay.
And it times out perfectly because St. Pat's is the first day that I can drink again. So I shall have a beer or two that day.
Smart. With an Irish wife, right?
Yeah. But I got to be honest, I feel great. And I got to keep that in mind because I'm getting up a lot easier every morning and zero hangover. And my edible consumption has stepped up a little bit. But it's been not as hard to do as I thought it was going to be.
Look, I do have to give you props on something, and I'll give myself props. I'll pat myself on the back. Both you and I, through our tour, vacation/tour, we both worked out. I saw you running. I don't even know if you were running this. I'm assuming you were running on the beach.
Yep.
I was in the hotel gyms at Mexico and Vegas. I was posting pictures like, I'm up doing this. Where are the rest of y'all? So if a 50-year-old and a 55-year-old can do it, you guys can do it too. Anyway,
and my wife
you'll feel a lot better.
My wife goes to local classes here, but they also stream the classes. And she got up every morning when I went for my run. That. She would pop open the laptop, and I think part of it was she was just trying to make the other girls feel horrible because she's in this on this tropical island, working
I saw her
out
on the balcony, kicking it,
and the sunrise coming up. But she got up. I think we were away 10 days. I think she worked out 8 of the 10 days at the max.
Great.
And you know what? For us, it made us guilt-free the rest of the day. When you get up and start your day that way, not that you feel like you can do anything you want, but if I want to have a beer at lunch or fried food for dinner, at least I feel like, at least I burned some calories.
I did something right. I did something this morning. Right. Yeah. Dude. Yeah. Anyway, we could soapbox on that all day. The topic today, though, is read the post, Mike, if you don't mind. That gives us a good
Jones, who Cedric, I apologize if we have met. I forget. We might have met at a conference or whatever. But he posted I'm setting a goal for myself to speak at a DJ or photo booth conference in the next few years.
Good for you.
And first of all, Cedric, I tip my cap to you. I think more people should try to get involved. I think too many people go to conferences and bitch and complain about everything and never get involved. So kudos to you. I tip my cap to you. So Joe and I would just like to offer you and anyone else who has that goal some advice from two people who broke through that barrier and got to the point where we have spoken at conferences nationally and internationally. Have you ever spoken internationally?
I have not.
One of my great honors in my career was getting flown over to England to speak. Cool. So something I'm super, super proud of. So I've spoken nationally and also internationally. So what kind of advice do you have?
I'll give mine first, and then I'll give. So anybody listening to this knows. I mean, really, Mike is one of the reasons I even dipped my toe into the speaking foray, which then led to the vault and everything else. So I called Mike. I'm not gonna say it the way I said it to Mike, but I called Mike. And Mike and I talked during this 5-week break. We if you're a listener, we took 5 weeks off, but we put out a show every week. Mike actually called me near the end of that run.
On my way to a gig, and I'm like, God,
that's right. It was that's right. It was between me coming back from Vegas and then going to Mexico, and he's like, "Hey man," I was like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, I'm worried. Mike's calling me. I'm like, oh, geez, what did I say something wrong? Or did I send a nasty text? Like I'm the worst texter.
Show about phone calls, about how weird phone calls are nowadays.
And I'm like, oh, shit, Mike's calling.
Like, what is that? What is my phone doing?
Wait, do I know this person? I'm like, what's up, Mike? It was a Saturday. Yeah, I think it was a Saturday. He's like, yeah, man, I'm on my way to a gig. I just miss you. I was like, oh, Mike. And he was like, man, it's been a long time. I was like,
he said in the most heterosexual way.
That's right. In the most hetero way, I miss you. I was like, bro, I miss you. But anyway, Mike was really the catalyst for getting me going. I think this guy, Cedric, has the right attitude. Like there is certainly new blood starting to step up to, I don't want to say take the place of Mike and I, but to be this new generation of thought leaders, of influencers, which I love to watch and see grow and speak and learn from. Mike and I still go to the conferences. You'll see us sitting in the seminars. We're taking notes. We're learning as well. But if I had tips, I guess my first one would be, and especially now, I wish I had it here. Mike, do you have it sitting on your desk? The Disc Jockey News, shout out to them, is back in print.
Brought it back, yes.
And there's not even above the fold anymore. It's more of like a little newspaper magazine. But guess who's on the front cover? As always, my man, Mike Walter.
John, I would write for him again as long as I got that spot.
Ah, dang it. I was trying to find the link. I think it's discjockeynews.com/subscribe. And from what I remember, it's free.
It is, I believe, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, get that newspaper. I think it comes every month. Mike writes articles.
No, quarterly now. He brought it back quarterly.
Okay.
So the winter edition has been published. I have already sent my spring article. I don't know how many other, and that's one of the reasons why I'm on the front cover. I always get my articles on time, if not early. So
that was one thing. So the first thing is people, especially the show producer, need to know you, and he or she needs to know that people know you. So, A, your socials, like, are they up to date? Are you posting good content? B, have you written for any kind of trade publication or even just blogged? And that was how I started. Mike and I used to write for Mobile Beat. We would be featured in the DJ Expo. Mike was the MC for that show for 20 years for the DJ of the Year award. I would write for Disc Jockey News for years. I have hundreds of articles that I wrote for them. That was the first thing that happened, though, was that people started to know, oh, okay, this guy Joe Bunn is somebody starting to bubble up on the scene. And then every conference, I can assure you, has a producer or owner. Most of them, I think even ours, the DJ Collective, has a link now, submit here to be a speaker. So you need, whatever these conferences are, you need to go to their website, if nothing else, find out the contact person and make a submission. Think about the topic. Write something, Mike. How long would you say? A couple paragraphs? Like, you don't need to write a thesis about what.
Yeah, not even, but multiple bullet points. And that's why I don't think you're done yet. But let me just, since you're talking about topic,
go ahead. Yeah, jump in.
Because somebody asked Cedric in this post, what would be your topic, and he said, I don't know. So I think step one is decide what you want to talk about. And
what you're an
really
expert
ask
on.
yourself,
Right.
Why are you the expert to talk about that? What have you done in your career that makes you not the expert? It's not like you have to be the only one, but an expert. Right. What makes you head and shoulders above most of the people that are going to be in that room? And then drill down on that topic and come up with a title and some cogent bullet points that are going to make the producer of the show go, I want this seminar, I want this content, and the people who are attending go, when they're going through the program, go, I can't miss that. I got to be in on that. What are those? What's the title and bullet points that's going to make that seminar relevant for the vast majority? That's extremely important. Come up with something.
That's a great point. And for us, I think the other thing is, the reason I got into it was I started to go to these and had this desire, like Cedric, that I needed to be up there, that I had something to say, or that I had something to share, or that a lot of the content that I was hearing was not recycled, but just almost I had passed that point in my career. It was almost too 101. Okay, well, let me get up and talk about more something 201. And I was always and still am, a nuts and bolts kind of person. Like, I want people to leave and be like, okay, I need to change that, or I need to, take notes here because the way he's doing it sounds better than the way I'm doing it. And Mike is very much the same, whether it's about music or sales or hiring. We're definitely of the school of thought of, we want people to have these takeaways, these nuggets, as they call them, versus
as opposed to motivational.
Correct. As opposed to Tony Robbins type. I call it rah. Yeah.
And I think there's value in that. And I think
there's room for that. Sure.
The people who do it really well are great. And they're an important voice at any conference or anything else. But you have to be sincere in that. And I've tried to be that a little bit, and I fall flat. It's not sincere for me. So my inspiration, and yours too, is basically leading by example and showing people what you can do by example, giving them a ton of ideas and having them walk out inspired that way. Now,
I do want to throw one more warning in to anybody that wants to dip their toe into the DJ or wedding conference for, speaking foray. You are not going to make any money doing this. All right. I'm just going to tell you that. They might pay for your trip. They might comp your ticket. Mike and I usually want to be at the conference anyway, so, it's whatever. For us, it's kind of a win. At least you're not coming out of pocket. But I will tell you this, and any good marketer will. Mike does it. I do it. We didn't do it earlier in our careers. You need to sell from stage. At the end of the thing, you don't have to make the whole thing. Doesn't need to be about a pitch. You can lead up to it, but at the end of the thing, you need to go, I'm going to be out in the hall and I'm selling my brand new DVD, A Wedding with Mike Walter. Joe's out there helping me. Come see us, whatever. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to leave your friends, family, job behind and go out and do this seminar and be gone for 3 or 4 days, travel, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It is extremely difficult to come up with a new presentation. It is very time consuming. The slides take a long time. The rehearsals, which I do 1/8 of what Mike does. Mike, by the way, is one of the best. This is what I was getting at earlier when I was saying I missed him. I called Mike and I said, hey, Mex was cool, but I promise you, you are one of the best speakers I've ever seen at any conference I've ever been to. Facts. Like, I literally was not, he wasn't even fishing. Like, was anybody as good as me? I was just like, dude, it needed Mike Walter. Like, that would have been the flex. Anyway, so think about that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it is not a money play. It is a help. You need to be willing and able to help people. You need to not really keep anything close to your chest. You need to give it all away. But I really do believe in trying to sell from the stage if you need to recoup your time, money, or as Mike has said before, you know, you're how do you sell this to Kelly, his wife, right? It's like, all right, Kelly, I'm going to Vegas for 5, 6, 7 days.
Right. And losing $3,000.
Right. And I'm going to lose $3K. And she's going to be like, this isn't
And
great,
how many times
Mike.
are we doing this?
Right. And you're going to do it in November and in February. And Mike's going to be like.
I would agree with that, Joe, but not the first time out. I would think your first time out.
Agreed.
Go into it as a loss leader. Go into it. And I love the fact that Cedric says, I'm setting a goal for myself. That's the payoff.
Perfect.
The payoff should be you set this goal and then you step on that stage and you achieved that goal. You can check something off in your life. Now, if you want to continue doing that,
there we go.
And you want to monetize,
I should have said that.
Then down the road, you should think of a product, whether it's a book or a video or a training course or whatever it is. But first, and I would even say maybe first couple of times out, just go into it as, man, I'm doing this to fulfill a dream and a goal that I've always had.
I should have said that. I should have said that. And there were 10 years, probably 8 years, where I did nothing other than do a new seminar every time because all the show producers wanted you to have original shows or original content. Mike is so good now, he can like parlay his across multiple shows.
I've gotten to the point where, yes, sometimes I'm allowed to do the same seminar.
Exactly.
It's always blown my mind, especially when it's two different coasts. Like the crossover of the DJs who attend Atlantic City and Vegas is so small that who cares? And it's almost like hiring U2 and saying, hey, did you play all your hits at the last concert? Well, don't do any of the hits at this concert.
Listen, you guys can only play Joshua Tree and then over here.
It makes no sense to me, but okay, I get it. That's what a lot of these conference producers, they want fresh, at least a fresh title. Sometimes I can take the same content and kind of rebrand it a little bit, change a little bit, change the pictures, but I'm not rewriting an entire 90-minute sentence.
God knows, man.
Yeah, there's an
art. Even 90 minutes. I'm telling you, it's a lot of work, but it is super rewarding if you get up there and nail it. The amount of love you get from the other DJs there, going out in the hall, spending the other 2-3 days there, kind of getting a attaboy or a pat on the back was worth it to me for, like I said, probably a decade before I even approached that. So I should have led with that. You're right. And I think, again, that builds your brand. That builds awareness. That builds people wanting you to come speak. But at the same time, no matter how good you get or how quote unquote big you get, you still need to put in a topic if you truly want to speak at these things. Would you say that, Mike?
Yeah,
I mean, if somebody doesn't reach out to you, don't think that they don't want you. Like,
when Casey asked me to speak at Marquee or Mitch Taylor asked me to speak at Midwest, which I'm speaking at both, and I hope to see everybody there, our listeners. It wasn't just, hey, Mike, you got 90 minutes or you got an hour. Do whatever you want. It was what is your topic this time around? What are you going to be talking about? And I mean, I would like to think at this point I've got some leeway with, I've got but I still needed to come up with something that made sense to them and sounded like something they wanted to add. So just a few more things that I want to add for Cedric. First of all, be willing. I don't know if Cedric was at Mex in Las Vegas. I feel like maybe he was because this was posted on March 1st and it was right after. And he also said speak at a DJ or photo booth conference. Or maybe he was like somebody like myself who was just home at the time and looking at stuff on social media. But I would advise Cedric, start smaller. Mex was what I would call a national conference. DJ Expo in August is what I would call a national conference. There are smaller regional shows that are probably easier to get in on. And let's face it, also, one of the things, I still get nervous when I get up there to do a seminar. I get less nervous in a room of 100 people than I do in a room of 500 people. So maybe a smaller regional show is a better one to start out and to get your first one. So I would advise you that. I've also noticed a lot of conferences nowadays are doing long seminars, but also then a segment of what are basically TED Talks, the quick 15, 20-minute talk.
Yeah.
If you can, I would try to get one of those slots as your first.
The shorty.
Yeah, the shorty, because it's a lot easier to prep a 20-minute talk than it is an hour-long talk.
Yes, it is.
And if this is your first time doing public speaking, I didn't have that opportunity when I first started. I was given an hour on running a multi-op, which was what I had submitted for. That was difficult. That was a lot of work to fill an hour. I wish I had the opportunity to do, because I've done some 20-minute TED Talk type things. They're fairly easy. You give me one good idea and I can bullshit. I mean, that's pretty much what this podcast is, Joe. It's you and I taking one concept and stretching it for 20 to 30 minutes. So I would think that would also be a good way to start for Cedric.
Right. Yep.
And then my final piece of advice, Cedric, is if you get to this point, if you get this goal, make sure it's videotaped. Make sure if the conference is videotaping it, make sure you're going to be able to get a copy. If not, it doesn't even have to be professionally done. Get a GoPro, stick it in the corner, so that you can go back and critique yourself, because while you're presenting, you're going to be too busy presenting to really be thinking about, how did I sound? How did I look? Everything else. But also so that you can show the next producer, hey, would you like to see a video of a seminar I've done?
Yes.
So that that will help sell you. If I was producing a show, besides getting a description of your show, if you were able to send me 20 minutes of you speaking on a stage to show that you could actually handle it, I'd be a lot more inclined to say, you got it, especially if I don't know who you are. You know what? I'm going to take a flyer on you. So if you do whatever goal you accomplish the first time, make sure you get it on some kind of video.
That little reel could be gold. That could get you in so many doors. And man, these are great tips. I knew Mike would be the real one day in Vegas, or a couple of days. And then Mike came on, I was like, yes, man, that dude gets it. Like, that's my guy. Like, I'm going to be up there next year or whatever.
Yeah, and about a decade before that, I had a very similar revelation. I was sitting in Atlantic City at the DJ Expo, and I saw a few impressive speakers, and I was like, oh, that guy knows what he's talking about. But I also saw a few that were a little less than impressive, and I said, I think I could do better than that. And I approached, and I used, I did some networking, and I found out who was the decision makers at DJ Expo, and I got to them, and I presented a topic and bullet points, and I was eventually given the green light, and that's the process you need to go through.
Yes, Cedric had that revelation, is what that's what caused that post. So
I would imagine that Cedric was probably sitting at Mex and said, I think I could do better than maybe that guy or gal.
Yep. And we're pulling for you. We want to see you, man. So
I am. That's why I saved this post, and I wanted to talk about it, because I honor anyone who sets that as a goal. It can be extremely rewarding. I'm so glad that 25 years ago I threw my hat in the ring. It has helped my career. It's furthered my career. It's made me so much. It's given me a new appreciation for the education that takes place in this industry, and I'm glad I'm involved in it.
Me too, man.
Yeah. Good luck.
It's a whole.
Let us know. Please let us know when you achieve this goal, and if I'm there, I will be there. If I'm at that conference, I will be front row,
hyping you up.
Yep.
I love it, man.
Good.
Great topic, Mike. Great topic. All right, guys. I hope everybody. Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
I'll be tipping one back a little bit later.
I might as well too, after the 2 years I've had. Thanks, guys.
Ciao, everybody.
That was good stuff.